Hello, thank you so much for downloading this episode of Journey to a Dream. This whole podcast series is brought to you by Kawasaki Insurance, and I'll give you the details at the end about how you can get in touch with them. Our guest today is someone who hasn't actually been road racing for very long, but my word, he has made his mark, certainly after becoming the 2025 Senior Manx Grand Prix champion. It was by no means, though, a foregone conclusion. In fact, until the end of the race, it really didn't look like Caomhan Canny was going to be on the top step because Chris Cook had just been phenomenal throughout the race. But something happened that really did put a rocket up Caomhan Canny on those last few miles. And I began our conversation by asking Caomhan if he'd heard any of that race commentary of the last lap.
I actually haven't, no. I did go looking for it, hey, but couldn't get it.
Well, you're in luck, because I've got it here. So we're going to hear just a few minutes of the final lap, and we're going to pick it up just as Chris Kinley is talking about Chris Cook, who had been the race leader up to this point. Let's just hear this now.
Across the line he goes. It's Chris Cook, the Hoik rider. But is it going to be him that has his hand? He's done another on the trophy. 120.181. His race time, 75 minutes, 58.493, an average speed of 119.187 for the Hoik rider, the number 2 machine of Chris Cook, with a last lap of 18 minutes, 50.1. He's there now. It's 1.731. Goodness me, that's come down. Crunknamona, 1.731. Chris Cook from Caomhan Canny. We thought it was all over, bar the shouting.
2 minutes 20, the start interval between them. We're just coming up to 2 minutes now. So he's got 20 seconds to wait, as Chris Cook, to find out whether or not he's held on.
It's Caomhan Canny we're waiting for. Caomhan Canny not across the line as of yet.
To get here, he's got 5 seconds to get here.
Looking up the road, has he done enough? Has he done enough? He has! Caomhan Canny takes the win by half a second. Caomhan Canny, with a newcomer last year, has taken the Manx Grand Prix senior title by half a second. 0.529 from Chris Cook. Let's get to a very joyous winners enclosure.
Yeah, it certainly is. Can you hear Caomhan Canny coming in here? That bike just revving, the whoops from the crowd. He can't believe it. He's shaking his head. The number 16 machine just pulling into first place. Have a listen to this. Caomhan Canny, I tell you what, your pit crew was something else. They were just over 46 seconds. Talk us through what you're feeling right now.
I can't. There's no words. Just look, hey, before I say anything, I just want to thank every single person who's believed in me, my sponsors, McCafferty, Northern Interior Solutions, my cousin Shane Canny, all my family, any single person. Look, I know the emotions are high. I don't want to forget anyone. Like, the bike wasn't running only for Michael Dunlop. He got her going. Michael Sweeney giving me laps to the place. There's so many people who deserve a mention, and I don't want to forget anyone. But the emotions are a bit high, so I'm sorry if I do.
I tell you what, talk about leaving it to the last minute. How did you know that you were so nearly there? Were you aware?
To be honest, whenever I got to the Craig, some gentleman who I don't even know was giving me a board in the last lap, and it was 4.5 seconds, and I just says to myself, I've just got to put on the sector of my life and hope something happens, and I just don't know how it happened.
I tell you what, it was quite a spectacle for us all to watch and to listen to. We are so delighted for you. They can hear the round of applause there. How are you going to celebrate?
Hey, we'll get out tonight, and we'll everybody who's behind me and all the crew, I couldn't do it without all the lads. It's not just me, and I'm sure everybody in motorbikes know that, but there's so much on behind the scene. My wife makes so many sacrifices so we can do this financially. We have limited sponsors, so it just takes a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort. When you're not away working, you're always at this, and it's finally paid off.
We're going to see you back here on the Isle of Man?
Most definitely.
Huge congratulations. Well done, Caomhan.
Thank you very much.
Caomhan, what is it like listening back to that?
It's very emotional, actually. Just fantastic. The biggest achievement of my racing career, obviously. And it's a very, very proud moment for myself and I suppose all the team, yeah.
I just want to know, have you ever found out who that gentleman who gave you that pit board was?
Yeah, it was actually Joe Yardley. I actually went past Joe, and when I seen the 4.5, I didn't know it was Joe, but when I seen the 4.5, I started shaking my head. I was like, this is going to be impossible. But thinking, I suppose that was to the bungalow time, which obviously wasn't, you couldn't process that quick enough. But no, I found out it was Joe Yardley, and I will never forget, and I can't thank him enough for that, because it gave me an inkling of what I had to do.
And a few pints earned for Joe there, I reckon.
For sure.
Absolutely. And let's just go back to sort of where it all started for you then, Caomhan.
It was a small bit different for me, I suppose. I didn't start riding motorbikes at all until 2019. I bought my first ever road bike. I met my now wife, Katrina. She was the bike fanatic. She had been to 3 or 4 TTs. She had watched all the road racing, and, you know, whenever we started going out, the way she put it to me was, look, I'll be going away on the bike at the weekends, so if I go for a run and whatnot, I will not get to see each other. So I was like, well, that only leaves one thing. I have to buy a bike, don't I? So
That was amazing.
That's kind of where it started. In 2019, we bought our first bike. So, yep.
So how do you go from that then to then racing?
We started going, obviously, when we bought the bike. I think it was like February 2019. I bought my first bike off Superbikes. It was a wee R6. And whenever we bought the bike, it was obviously coming into the summer of 2019. Then Katrina was like, oh, we'll go for a spin. And, you know, we went local at the start with me not really riding bikes. And after maybe that summer, Katrina was like, you know, I think you should maybe do a few track days. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, she's like, no, it might be a bit maybe safer, because I always liked speed my whole life. And I suppose, yeah, she thought it might be safer if we were to go and do a few track days and whatnot. Not that she never actually said that to me, but maybe I got that a while after, that I was a bit mad after I got comfortable.
And whereabouts do you live, Caomhan?
Living in Cairndonagh in Donegal, Ireland at the minute.
So are there a lot of track day opportunities around you?
Not necessarily, no. We have to travel. It's 3 hours to Kirkestown and just the same kind of to Bishopscourt, with limited track days in Bishopscourt, and then it's 5 hours to Mondello. So no, it's not easy for us where we're living. It's a big commitment on all aspects of motorbikes, like.
So you did a track day then. What do you remember about that?
My first track day was Mondello, August 2020. I bought myself a 1000cc motorbike, thinking that I could, that would be a great bike. But that didn't last too long. 3 track days and a couple of crashes later, I decided to get rid of the 1000 and go back to a 600.
And then, presumably, once you'd done that, you found a love for this sport. How did you decide to progress with it?
Once we got rid of the 1000 and we went and bought a wee R6, again for the track, just down there and kind of timing yourself. And after maybe my second or third track day, there's a class in Ireland that's called Super Sport Cup. And they were doing like 101, say, in Kirkestown, and I was up on my first track day in Kirkestown, and I was doing 104s. So I thought, I know it's a lot now in racing terms in short circuit when you're looking back, but I thought with a bit more time and whatnot, maybe we'll be able to, you know, go there and have a good time and maybe get into the super sport races and see how things really went, Beth. That was where it all started, hey, so we decided, Katrina says, sure, we'll give it a go and it'll be something for us to do. And she loved the bikes and that was kind of where it started. And yeah, we decided to go racing in 22.
Wow, that is incredible. And does Katrina race as well then?
No, Katrina doesn't race. She's just a massive road racing fan. She always has been a massive road racing fan.
My goodness. It's so weird how this has all worked out, hasn't it? Something that was never really on your radar. I mean, you obviously come from a country which is well known for producing fantastic road racing stars. Had you been aware of things like the TT and the MGP growing up?
Obviously, everyone heard of the TT. Like, I've seen videos of it whenever I was a bit younger, but had probably no interest. Thought it was mad. And then when I started riding the bikes myself, I suppose my first road race ever was, I went and watched, I think it was either 21 or 22 Cookstown 100 was my very first road race to ever go and watch. Whenever I was sitting in the hedge, I was like, this is mad. It's fantastic. I would love to do this if it was possible. So yeah, whenever we started racing in 22, I always raced with intentions in 22 of going to the roads. Like, don't get me wrong, short circuits is great and all, but they were never my aim as such.
How do you pay for all of this then? Because we know it's a sport that demands a huge amount physically, mentally, but crucially financially as well. At
the minute, when we're not racing bikes, it's work. Like, winter we do a lot of weekends and I think last winter we done, I think maybe like a month straight at work. Like, don't get me wrong, it's all self-funded, and we have two sponsors there, and a cousin of mine helps me out for the Manx every year. Small sponsors, like it covers maybe 4 or 5 sets of tires. It's tough. It's tough at the minute, like, because just with the expense that's involved in it, it's not an easy sport to keep going. And I suppose limited sponsorship, and it's just not easy.
And what is the day job?
Plaster.
Yeah, it must be so difficult to start those conversations with people when you need the money and that sort of support. But I know so many people find it really, really difficult.
Yeah, it's something I suppose I haven't really. The one time that I actually went and approached people in 2023, we were doing all right. We were leading the Cup Championship. And that was, I suppose, the aim when I started racing. And then I thought, maybe the CV's getting a bit better. We can go and approach people. And I remember contacting one company, local, and I said to them, we're going racing and our aims. We're going to try and go to the Manx Grand Prix, and we're going to try and do this here. And they emailed back saying, I want a new yacht. Are you going to help me get that? And that was the last time I approached anybody for sponsorship.
Oh, that is so tough, isn't it? That is so, so tough.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about picking the wrong sort of person, but I suppose there's something in that for people, that they feel bad asking for support for a passion of theirs.
Of course you always do. Like, it's not an easy conversation, and I suppose it's one I find very difficult. I would think I'm very shy in that manner. I just don't like going in as such. You feel like you're begging. You know what I mean, Beth? And it's not a nice thing to do. With the racing being so expensive, though, without some sort of sponsorship, like everything, it makes it so much easier with people coming on board. And I suppose if they want to be on your journey with you, and, if they want to be part of what you're doing. But it's not an easy topic of conversation. And to be fair, in Donegal, like, motorbikes wouldn't be a massive thing. Like, within a 100-mile radius, like, I know like 3 or 4 people who ride them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you see the paddock is full of people who are there just because they love the sport. They don't want to do it themselves. Who would want to do that? But they want to be part of it in some way. So it is just finding the right connections, I guess, and being put in touch with the right sort of people.
Yeah, that's right. Anybody that has come on board, I suppose, people that help me out are people who race themselves, but don't do the Manx and don't do, or they do track days. They're the kind of people that have helped me out as such, so they are. It's not really like people who have no interest in the TT, and not no interest, maybe don't know what it is. They're the hard ones to convince, I'm going to do this, and they're just like, well, what are you going to do there? And when you tell them you're probably going to do not much, I suppose it's not really appealing, is it?
Would you be able to give us a sense, though, of what it does mean to a rider in your position when somebody says, yeah, I really do want to help you out?
It's massive. Like, I suppose it's pressure. You're always weekend sacrifices. You've got to think. Me and Katrina got married on the 15th of April 23. We still haven't got the honeymoon. That's the sacrifice we have to make to continue on with the motorbikes. And when people come in and they be like, oh, we would like to buy you a set of tyres, that's one less set of tyres. It's a massive thing. And not only the tyres, like fuel, just everything, like anybody to give their own hard-earned money. And I know it's a big ask to do that, but whenever they come up, it's lovely and it's a great gesture. Like.
And has there ever been a point where you and Katrina have thought, is this really worth it?
Every winter, I suppose. Whenever you're not at the bikes, I kind of go into this, I wouldn't say depression, but you go into this lull and you're like, what are we doing? Like, I've just spent another 30 or 40,000, this year trying to run these motorbikes, and it's just, is it worth it? And the sacrifices you make, like not buying your own home and not doing this, and it's every winter. Whenever you're not out on the bike, or you're not working at the bikes, or getting, you know what I mean? They're not in your mind, and you're trying to get money gathered all winter to go racing next year. Like, why am I working for 20 days straight here? That's a tough time.
But then you listen to what we just heard at the start of this conversation and you just think, that's why you do it. It's not all about the winning, but those highs when they happen must just be exhilarating.
Phenomenal. Of course they are. Like, the dream is always to win the Manx Grand Prix or to be competitive at the Manx Grand Prix. And then with the lead up to the Manx Grand Prix, this year was just more laps and see how we felt on the bike and see how things go. And we won it. The first thing me and the wife both said to each other, it's worth it. Everything was worth it.
So just curious, because you hadn't sort of grown up with the TT and MGP on your radar, at what point did you decide you wanted to do it?
End of 2023. I did my first road race in Cookstown in 2023. Cookstown and Armagh, the Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland struggled with insurance. And I had set up for a road racing season in 2023 because I got my licence to go road racing at the end of 22. So the last full road racing season in Ireland and the Republic and the North was 2022. And then 23, they both struggled for insurance, but Cookstown and Armagh run. So it was only 2. So with limited track time, like, I thought to myself, well, how can we get out on more roads and whatnot? So at the end of 23, I thought we will put an entry into the Manx Grand Prix. I was also on the verge of quitting because of the insurance issues and the roads not going ahead, and I just didn't want to commit to short circuits.
That is insane to think you were so close to potentially giving up that dream.
Yeah, it was. It was genuinely, I was very, very close, because when the road racing season wasn't going ahead with what we come racing for, well, what are you racing for? You know what I mean, Beth? It's not what you set out to do as such. So to change your dream as such and try and chase another dream just wasn't in the plans.
So you decide then, right, mountain course, that's for me. You put in your entry. What do you remember about the moment when that was accepted?
Yeah, I was very delighted. Hey, I had a good year in 23. I had an alright year. A couple of crashes maybe ruined the championship, and the other young lad was a good rider. Great rider, in fact, fair play to him. But he won it and I come second. And then when I got my entry to the Manx Grand Prix, I was over the moon. I thought I would never do it because it was such a big course and everybody hears only the bad, I suppose, of it. They don't hear about all the small ones that everybody has. And then, yeah, once we got our entry accepted, it was just, it was brilliant. We were both very excited, me and the wife. And, it's always been a dream of hers. She loves it, and then for me to be taking part in it was just different levels. So, yeah, whenever we got that done, we knew a lot of hard work at the start and a lot of time to spend on the island as such and learn it as best as possible.
And had you spent much time over here? Had you come over to watch previously before that?
I went and watched the TT the first year after COVID. Was it 2022? So I went to my first TT in 2022. That's exactly when it was. We spent 13 days there, watched the whole thing. It was just something that I have never ever experienced. Just the feeling, just watching everything, it was just phenomenal. Fell in love with it straight away, no doubt about that. Knew that it was exactly what I want to do. It was just a dream. In 2022, that was only ever a dream. These men were the 70 or 80 best road racers in the world, and to try and somewhat get into their level and racing this iconic course was something I never thought would have been possible.
How amazing. But yeah, you put your entry in, it was accepted. You spent a lot more time over here trying to get to know the course. What was 2024 like for you then?
2024 was, it was a good year. We were doing short circuits and we're doing any roads that we're going to head in 2024. And then I spent a lot of time on the island preparing for, the end goal in 24 was always the Manx Grand Prix. Same as 25. You always kind of want to look after, not as such, I know you can't go racing and say you want to look after yourself, but you were being maybe a wee bit more cautious. I know it didn't work out great in 25, but you were trying to be more cautious because, look, there's no point in lying. If the bikes had a big accident or something, your Manx was in doubt, because finances aren't there. So 2024 was busy with trying to stay sharp on track day short circuits, any roads that went ahead. And then I spent a lot of weekends in the island. Probably was over an island 8 or 10 times.
And that's a big commitment as well, isn't it? Trying to fit that in with everything else that you've got going on in your life.
Yeah, between work, 2024 was so busy. If you weren't on the island, if you weren't working or racing a short circuit, it was just, go, go, go. I think all from April straight through to September, there wasn't many mornings you get to lie on.
But it was obviously worth it for you, though, because you did the 2024 MGP. Did you make that decision straight away afterwards that I'm definitely coming back next year?
Yeah, once I did my first lap on my own, I absolutely loved it. It was just the best thing. Just the best thing in the world for me. I knew I had made the right decision as such to follow it and go for it. The 24 Manx Grand Prix was very, very bad weather, but I still had an unbelievable time.
And then we move on to 2025, and you sort of alluded to the fact that your path to the start line this year was not actually that straightforward, because you had a huge crash at the Tandragee 100 back in June, and that just must have been devastating for so many reasons. But as you say, it must have been on your mind that the MGP would have been in doubt at that point.
Yeah, as soon as we had the accident and I got to the hospital, I suppose that was the first thing I said to my wife: we're not going to make the Manx Grand Prix. It wasn't an easy time. With the Manx Grand Prix in 2024, we went with stock machinery. My biggest aim in 2024 was to get to the iconic Isle of Man and get 2 finishes. I didn't care where I finished, and I wanted to just enjoy myself and have a good time. So we went with bikes that probably weren't competitive and weren't going to run against the rest. But whereas for 2025, the sacrifices that had to come and the financial difficulties that were presented, because I wanted to go back in August of 25 with the best machinery that I could put onto the grid, and that's exactly what we done. And then when we got to Tandragee, obviously we had a bit of a spill coming into Cooley Hill in the last lap of the junior race, which is Super Twins. So yeah, we had a pretty bad accident, to be honest.
And you were, I mean, physically, I think you had a number of broken bones. How were you, though, generally in yourself? Because the physical side of things, I guess, it seems that races can almost put that to one side. It's the sort of the mental part of going through something like this that can be so difficult.
I probably would have given up, Beth, to be honest, hey, if it wasn't for Katrina. You know, she was the one that was, it's going to be okay, we don't have to be ready till this date, and we'll see how you're feeling. And, you know, we broke our pelvis in 3 places. That was plated and screwed. We tore ligaments and did damage to our left ankle, dislocated our right shoulder, and separated the AC joint from my shoulder. Couldn't move my neck, and it was a very tough crash to come back from. But yeah, positivity, I suppose, having Katrina positive at all the time was the main thing. But if it was me and my own, I just don't think I would have been as positive, to be honest.
Do you know what? I think everybody needs a Katrina in their life. She sounds utterly amazing.
I swear to God, only for her, I probably, not that I would have given up, but yeah, as such I probably would have, especially after Tandragee.
So physically then, I'm guessing there was a lot of physio. Did you get to a hyperbaric chamber? I don't know if there's anything like that around your area.
Yeah. Whenever we had the accident, we were taken out of hospital. On the way from the hospital, I had actually a good mate of mine who I raced against, Sean Brawley. He gave me a number. He had an accident himself, so he gave me a number for a lad in Cookstown who hired out the hyperbaric chambers. So I hired one to my home for a month. And yeah, with the physio side of things, and twice a week we were going to John Laverty in Toonbridge. So yeah, I believe only for them both things, and John working with us in the time we really needed as such. He wanted to see us back on the bike, and that's 2 of the main things as well.
What an incredible story it is, Caomhan, honestly. And not only, I mean, we've talked a lot about the senior Manx Grand Prix win, but also got 5th in the Super Twin, 2nd in the Super Sport, 5th in the Junior. And just to top it all, you are now officially a member of the Tommy Club as well.
Yeah, it's funny. It's obviously a huge honour and a massive privilege to get into the Tommy Club. With the Super Sport racing this Saturday, I was disappointed we didn't get it, being so close. Just in the last lap, Jamie Williams, fair play to him, deserved to win, great ride. But in the last lap, I made so many mistakes. The fitness let me down as such. But look, as I say, no, I was disappointed not to get the Tommy Club on the Saturday, and I just feel that our last lap, the only flying lap we had, I suppose you should have been so many seconds quicker that, you allow yourself 4 or 5 seconds, and I just couldn't do it. So that was the main aim for the Monday. We spoke about it, me and Keith and Michael, the 2 lads, come for helping me. Like I says, my main aim is just try and get the Tommy Club and see where we go from there. So yeah, that was great. That
worked out all right, didn't it? Not too shabby. But physically, I mean, you sort of mentioned your physical fitness. I mean, it's still now, even as we're speaking, relatively early days in your recovery from what you went through in June. Were you feeling that really physically on the bike as you were going round?
Yeah, the very first night of practice, I suppose it was a tough one, because whenever we come in, I can't even mind it. We do 6 or 7 laps, I don't know. But I did so many in the twin. The first 2 or 3 in the twin, I felt good. And then when I got out in the 600, my fitness just went after 2 laps. And then I knew that I could go well for 2 laps, and then the next 2 would be not as good, because concentration and everything just was struggling a bit from where we were with fatigue and fitness and soreness as such too, yeah. So I struggled with that a bit.
And then now, how are things? Because obviously it's a fairly intensive time, isn't it? And I think it's fair to say, because the weather was just amazing for the MGP, more laps probably than anybody's ever done in recent history over here. So there was a lot to go through. But are you okay now?
I'm just back to work the last 3 weeks. Still, no, I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near what I was, obviously, before the accident. Still a lot of issues. Struggling with my own work. It's a physical job, and I'm still not back till anywhere near what we need to be. So, yeah, I suppose I'm struggling more financially now. It's harder to cover and make the money that I should be making. But, no, hopefully in the next 3 or 4 weeks, things will come back to what they were before. But still a bit of an issue at the minute. So we are with the injuries.
And then what is the plan for next season? Because we're sort of looking towards the end of 2025. And I say this so often, but it must be a very long winter in your household for you two. Yeah. But what is the plan for next year, Caomhan?
I haven't really thought much about it, but like obviously the plan is TT. With being a privateer with, a couple of sponsors, to commit to a full season of, if you do your short circuits, your national roads, try and do the Northwest and TT, if you get an entry for the Northwest, it'll just be a really, really expensive year. And it's something that I don't want to go to them half doing them, so I would like to pick the main ones and go at them fully.
And have you had any approaches since, obviously, your fantastic MGP from people wanting to support you?
Yeah, we've one new sponsor on board, which is great, fantastic. We have a new sponsor on board, which is going to help us for next year, so he'll be a big help. He wants to stay private, he wants to stay quiet and things, but no, my other sponsors, McCaffrey Mechanical and Northern Interior Solutions, helped me out. My cousin, Shane Canny, he gave me money to go to the Manx, and then there's another couple of lads from Donegal, they bought me a tyre, and Tina Martin, a marshal at the Manx, she bought me a set of tyres, and just everybody coming together. It was just fantastic. It's great when you have people that got there. And then the lads that come to help me, Keith and Michael and Darren Tierney. Darren, he also bought me a set of tyres as well as coming to help me. It was just, if you don't have people like that, I just don't think it's possible to do it, Beth.
And you mentioned during your post-race interview the support you'd had from Michael Dunlop and Michael Sweeney as well. So that is just invaluable, isn't it? Wherever that support comes from, it does seem to mean so much to you.
Of course it is. We were having issues with the Suzuki new bike this year. We were just having a few issues and we couldn't really get to the bottom of it. So whenever I come in from one of the qualifying sessions, I know Michael very well. Michael's a good mate and he's a good lad. So we were out testing with Michael in Spain in January. Got to know him very well and he's helped me a lot this year. And then Michael was standing with himself whenever we come in, and one of the lads went to fire the bike up and take her down to the gazebo, and Michael says to me, I think that thing's only running in 3 cylinders. So long story short, he came down and had a look at her, and she was. So he helped us out. Fair play to him. I really, really appreciate it. He stayed down with me till we got it sorted, and only for him, I suppose, maybe we wouldn't have got back out in the 600. So it's great to have people like that on your side.
Oh, it's just brilliant, Caomhan. Where can people follow you and what you're doing race-wise?
I have a page on Facebook. It's Caomhan Canny Racing. We try and keep things up to date on that, and my own personal page, I suppose, which is Caomhan Canny, and then I have a TikTok account as well. We just put bits and pieces up on that there. It's Caomhan Canny Racing.
I also just want to know, how many times a day do you have to spell your first name?
See, since I've went to primary school and secondary school, nobody gets it right ever.
Well, we'll hope we get it right on the links that we're going to put on the podcast page. It's just been brilliant talking to you. Great to catch up. And we really do look forward to seeing you here, hopefully on that TT start line, maybe for 2026.
I hope so too, Beth.
Caomhan Canny, what an incredible story when you think about what he's been through since June this year. But the reality is always there, isn't it? It's so difficult in this sport for those privateers who really are competing for sponsorship as well as competing out on the course when they're out racing. So if you can support Caomhan in any way, the links are on the podcast page, and do give him a follow and see what he's up to race-wise. Journey to a Dream is brought to you by Kawasaki Insurance, and you can find out more about them by visiting their website. It's kawasaki-insurance.com. caosacyinsurance.co.uk. And we're also supported by the Andreas Racing Association, a fantastic group over here on the Isle of Man, a real grassroots organisation that's so supportive. So do get in touch with them. The link's on the podcast page for them too. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.